Build your looks, build your life. Your appearance has become monumental in determining the trajectory of your life. Everyone intuitively understands this. Think about just 10 years ago. How much emphasis did people, as well as social media, put on one's appearance? It wasn't nearly as much as how much emphasis people put now. Understanding this, we can extrapolate this change onto the upcoming 10 years. Think about just 4 years into the future. What do you think the world is going to be like in 2030 regarding appearance? It's only going to get more and more cutthroat. Well, understanding that and recognizing this fact, what can we do? It's all good in games knowing how important appearance is. Virtually everyone understands that, and by extension, you probably will not meet a single person who, if you had to ask hand on heart, would you rather look better or look worse? Every single person will choose to look better. So why do so few people manage to actually make it happen? Well, that is what I am going to be outlining here. What do I teach most often, most importantly? Bone remodeling. Bone remodeling is essential for optimizing your physical appearance. This is key. Why is that? Well, if we look at the skull and compare it to a human face, we can clearly see that the skull is what makes up how your face looks. It's not the expressions, it's not how your hair is, it's the skull, it's the bones on the face. If the bones on the face are not optimized, if the bones on your face are not completely at their genetic potential, well, you are missing out on so many aspects of life. So, how do we go about optimizing this to its fullest genetic potential? So, first, I'm going to go over in brief the bone remodeling cycle. The bone remodeling cycle is simply wherein certain cells called osteocytes absorb bone material. So think about your bone and think about astronauts who go to space. They go to space, and what happens when they come back after 6 months? Well, some of them aren't even able to walk. Why is that? That's because the bone density has decreased due to the reduction in gravitational acceleration. When you're on planet Earth, you're constantly subjugated to the acceleration that the world has upon you. When you're in space, well, that's going to be a lot lower. It's never zero, but it's going to be significantly lower. By extension, what happens? Well, the bone remodeling cycle, which continues forever, the bone remodeling cycle never stops. Unlike bone growth, which ends after you're 16 or 18, bone remodeling never ends. Proof of this is everywhere. So, astronauts come back from space, then they can't walk because they've lost so much bone density in their legs. Due to this reduction in bone density, we can clearly extrapolate that in the bone remodeling cycle, more bone tissue, more bone cells have been absorbed. Because the brain is smart, the brain has evolved for millions of years. It's trying to conserve as much energy as it can. Think about entropy. Well, what's the universe trying to do? Trying to spread out energy as much as it can. If your body needs to constantly fuel the bones, give it nutrition, well, if it no longer needs to due to the reduction in force application, it is going to make the bone weaker. So this is a fact. Now, we are going to do the opposite. We are going to do the opposite thing here. Instead of reducing bone density, we are going to increase bone density, increase cortical bone thickness, and by extension, improve your physical attractiveness. This is the essence of what I'm going to teach you. How are we going to go over that? Well, this is what your face is going to look like if we cut it down the middle. We can see that the tongue is just going to be one huge muscle. This muscle is the gateway to unlocking your full potential. This muscle needs to be strengthened. So how are we going to strengthen it? Well, let's think. The tongue you use every day, so it's reached a certain capacity of being able to output force. Well, the more you use it, think about when you go to the gym. When you go to the gym, You're applying strain, you're applying load, mechanical load to the muscle tissue, and then it grows. Same thing with the tongue. You need to be tongue chewing. You need to do this with gum in particular. So get a soft piece of gum in the middle of your tongue, push it up, flatten that piece of gum right here. Flatten it, push up, repeat, up, repeat. Over and over and over again. That's what you need to do. Over time, it's going to strengthen all of these muscle fibers next. Then you need to make sure that you are also chewing mastic gum. This is because the masseter muscles, which sit right here, need to be strong enough to output adequate bite force. When you are going to do what I'm going to teach you regarding 3-point tongue pressurization, your masseter muscles supplement what the tongue is doing. Now, these are going to be the two most important facial muscles, but facial muscles aren't going to magically transform your face in the manner that every single one of my consulting clients did. Okay? It's the bones. However, bones are going to remodel due to soft tissue, facial muscles adapting. The facial muscles is the gateway to bone remodeling. Now that the tongue and masseter muscles are strong, you need to apply force in a very particular manner, very particular force distribution. So, your tongue is going to sit here. So close your lower jaw, clamp it together. Your teeth must be solidly clamped. Not so you're biting, but so if you can't move your lower jaw, it needs to be secure. Next, this part of the tongue needs to pressure upwards at a 30-degree angle. Why? Well, if we think about how the force is going to distribute itself at that point, well, there's going to be a particular component that is going to directly allow for cortical bone thickening here. This thickening is what gives the illusion of better mid-face projection, as well as directly inducing over time, this isn't quick, but over time, mid-face projection. It's twofold. Next, you need to, with the tongue now here, at roughly the midpoint, 2 centimeters behind the first point, you need to push at a 45-degree angle. And you can do this by lowering the hyoid and then raising the hyoid. When you combine these two mechanical moments, well, what does that do? If we think about how the entire maxillofacial structure is going to rotate around here, well, we can imagine there's a rod. We're pushing up here, forwards as well, 30 degrees from the horizontal. There's going to be a slight torque here. The main torque is going to be from this point. This is what allows for the rotation that we need to occur. Given that you do this correctly, now you are ready to do the third and final point. This is going to be retracting the back part of your tongue to very slightly constrict the airway. And you will know that you are doing this correctly if the air that's entering the back passage of your throat feels cooler. This is due to a principle called Bernoulli's principle, wherein by lowering the total surface area that a fluid can pass through, the velocity of the fluid is going to increase. Well, the fluid here is oxygen, and the velocity increasing dissipates the heat faster and faster, the rate of heat dissipation. That is what, again, in a twofold manner allows not only the brain to physiologically indicate to the bones here that they must project more to allow the airway to have slightly more space, but also due to how cold it is going to be there, it is going to further allow the midface, given that your midface is not completely fused. This is going to, again, in a twofold manner, allow the midface to further project. This takes time. You need to make this a permanent habit. Just exercising facial muscles will not get you to where you want to be. Exercising facial muscles in conjunction with allowing them to remodel bone is what gets you to where you want to be. This is going to be the full 3-point AERO protocol. AERO stands for, and it's what I teach, it's what I architect, well, I'm the architect of. I designed this. The applied epigenetic remodeling of the orofacial complex. We're applying a force to induce remodeling of the orofacial complex. This is how it works. Now, if you have come from another platform, feel free to subscribe. If you're new, feel free to subscribe. Why should you subscribe? Well, I do everything with logic. I explain things with logic, so it makes sense. When you subscribe, you will get a notification that I've uploaded a video. What are my videos? Well, they are designed to help you improve how you look. So would you rather spend 2026 staying the same or improving how you look? Well, this is going to be one way that you can begin the process of improving how you look, isn't it? So it's in your benefit to subscribe. Now, the second aspect is if you've seen some of the one-to-one consulting clients that I've transformed in under a year, you can feel free to message me personally regarding it. It's going to be a premium investment designed only for those who recognize the value that their physical appearance holds. Best of luck, and I hope to see you in the next video.